Welcome back, YouTube. We are here for week 9 of NFL action. Like the video, guys. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We got a huge card as far as number of games, but it's a card, guys, that I'm not in love with. There is an official play. It's the best bet of the entire weekend, which I'll get into in a second. I love this actual play, but for the entire card itself, there's not a ton of games on this card that I love. Let's get started with just a couple of intriguing games that I want to start with. First game that I want to start with is the Minnesota Vikings. They're getting their quarterback back in J.J. McCarthy on the road against the Detroit Lions, guys. This line is sitting at 8.5 right now. This Detroit Lions team is an absolute wagon. We don't know much of anything as far as what we have with this Minnesota quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. He's been in the league now. This is his second season, obviously. He's basically played in one game, and he got hurt in that game. He wasn't very good in that game, or he might have played 2 games. He wasn't very good in that second game. The point here is, guys, is you have a division rival, teams that are very familiar with themselves. These are games historically, especially in Detroit, guys, where points are of a plenty and where this game typically goes down to the wire. I'm not certain that this is the way that this game is going to unfold. J.J. McCarthy hasn't been impressive. This Detroit Lions team really over the course of the last couple of weeks has been gaining a ton of steam, a ton of confidence, playing complementary football. Offensively, they're putting up a ton of points. Defensively, this team is playing absolutely fantastic. We saw this Lions team last really beat the brakes off of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And a super impressive win. I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were injury rattled going into that game, but the performance that defensive line put in on that night was super impressive. This is a Minnesota Vikings offensive line that isn't very good. I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if the brakes getting beaten off of the Minnesota Vikings in this game. And we've seen it, especially under this Dan Campbell tenure since he's been in Detroit, that this Lions team really likes to run the score up. If this game turns out to be a 35-10 type of game, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. If this is a 40-6 win, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. This Vikings team right now isn't very good on either side of the ball. I'm telling you guys all of this to tell you, even though I like the Lions in this spot, and I can see the Lions beating the brakes off of the Minnesota Vikings, it's not a game I feel comfortable taking. It's just not. I haven't seen enough from J.J. McCarthy to really know where he is. And when I say that, I don't say that from a negative standpoint. If I was super confident that he wasn't going to be able to offer anything, I would be hammering the Detroit Lions in this spot. But Kevin O'Connell is a good coach, and I think J.J. McCarthy is a good quarterback, but I'm basing that off of not a ton of data in the NFL. I like him as a player. I like him as a prospect. Where he is in his development, in that curve, I don't know. Is he in phase 1 where he's still learning the game and he's learning the speed of the NFL? That's where you would think he would be based on his data and his inexperience. But the few times that I've seen him play, when he has time under center and that offensive line is protecting him and he's able to see things, he looks relatively good. And there is a situation, there is a path here where the Minnesota Vikings make this game very difficult for the Detroit Lions. I don't think it's the most likely outcome of this game, but I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if we get a little bit of a surprise, not only from the Vikings collectively, but from their quarterback, and we see the Vikings really put up a fight tomorrow. So essentially what I'm telling you here is this is a game that I'm interested in watching because finally J.J. McCarthy is back, and I'm very intrigued by him as a prospect. But there's too many question marks around this Minnesota Vikings team for me to feel comfortable betting on them. Definitely not an option. It's Lions or no bet, or betting against them. This Vikings defense, in addition to the question marks that I'm having with their offense, is slowly but surely starting to leak. And that's not what you want to see if you're a Vikings supporter, because this is a defense over the course of the last couple of seasons with Brian Flores that you could really hang your hat on and get consistent performances out of, but it's just not happening for that side of the ball. As I mentioned, it's Lions minus 8.5 or no bet. For me, this is a stay away game, guys. I'm staying away from this game. Second game that I want to talk about, and it's also a stay away game, and I see a lot of people jumping on this, is the Indianapolis Colts on the road at the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Colts minus 3 on the road against the Steelers. Let's talk about what we have here, guys. We have an absolute surprise on our hands with the 7-1 Colts having the best record in the entire NFL, which nobody saw coming, myself included, laying 3 points at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Similar to the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Viking guys, this is a Indianapolis Colts minus 3 or no bet at all. And for me, it's really twofold here, and I'm going to explain to you why ultimately I'm staying away from the Colts and I'm making it a no bet. Number one, Mike Tomlin is probably the best pound-for-pound coach in the NFL. Somehow, some way. I don't know how it is, but each and every year I go into the season thinking this is going to be the year that the Pittsburgh Steelers win total finally goes under. They're usually sitting around 8.5, 9, somewhere in that neighborhood for the last couple of years, that is. And this guy figures out a way to just win games no matter what he has. Whether he doesn't have a quarterback, which he hasn't had the last couple of seasons, they win games. Whether he has a quarterback now and his defense begins to falter, they figure out ways to win games. We saw this Steelers team get absolute wrecked last week by the Green Bay Packers, which I liked, which I talked about on this channel, and I mentioned the Green Bay Packers being one of my favorite bets of the week last week. But in this spot, guys, especially, I don't even know what they call that stadium anymore. Is it still Heinz Field? Especially when they're at home at Heinz Field, they just get breaks. Whether it's special teams breaks with other kickers missing kicks in that stadium because it's difficult to kick there, and they have a huge kicking advantage with Boswell because obviously it's his home field advantage, and he knows how to kick there. So that's one edge you got to factor into your handicapping. Or sometimes it's referees that give them extra calls. I don't talk about the referees all too much. We all know how terrible they are. But they always seem to get calls to go their way, whether they're warranted or not. So you're oftentimes going against the grain in the kicking game. You're going against the grain with the referees. And then you got these idiots. I call them idiots. Fair play to them. I don't mean that with any insult whatsoever. With these terrible towels waving around. Who knows what kind of black magic they got going around in that stadium. And something just always seems to go their way. And I don't want to make this seem like it's personal against the Steelers. I have nothing against the Steelers, nothing whatsoever. If anything, I'm saying this out of respect to this team and this fan base. And what I'm basically saying is something always just seems to go their way. And you have to factor that in these types of spots. And just laying the -3 with the Colts, something in my gut tells me be very cautious of taking the Colts in this spot. It's a Colts or no bet for me in this game because the Steelers just haven't shown me enough for me to feel confident in them, especially defensively. It's a poor defensive unit. And Aaron Rodgers, while he's playing well, he really isn't playing all that well, going up against this Indianapolis Colts team that is destroying teams week in, week out. Something tells me this is a letdown spot for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not going to bet on that letdown happening, but what I am going to do is I'm going to stay away from this game. Stay away from the Indianapolis Colts this weekend at -3. Let's get into my favorite play of this entire weekend, guys. I gave you guys Rice last night. Absolute battering. I gave you guys Memphis at Rice last night. Absolute battering against Rice. Ended up winning that game going away. The best bet on the board, and as I record this, my Saturday card hasn't begun yet. The best bet on the board for Sunday, tomorrow, is the Denver Broncos on the road at the Houston Texans. This is the Broncos getting 1.5 points at the Houston Texans. And before I begin, let me clarify, the bet is not on the Broncos. That's the game where the bet is. Let's talk about this matchup, guys. This Broncos team is coming off the back of a massive beatdown of the Dallas Cowboys in Denver. That's the last time we saw this team. That Cowboys team, guys, on the road is a terrible team. This is a team that's lost to the Panthers on the road. They've gotten crushed by the Bears on the road. And they got crushed by the Broncos on the road. They do have a win at the time against the winless Jets on the road. This is a different Cowboys team on the road than they are at home. A big difference. And they're not even that good at home to begin with. They're a decent team at home. But we're going to really see that team start to falter, in my opinion, moving forward at home. Maybe not this week, but moving forward. The game before that, we saw this Denver Broncos team put up 0 points, 0, at home against the New York Giants for 3 quarters. And as I talk about this show, on this show religiously, you have to know which types of teams that you're backing. And I talk about the Giants not knowing how to win games, and we saw that 2 weeks ago in Denver. Well, guess what, guys? Tap the brakes on the Denver Broncos tomorrow. Because you know what? This Houston team, especially at home, especially with Nico Collins coming back, is not that New York Giants team. The best bet on the board, guys, is the Houston Texans -1.5 tomorrow against the Denver Broncos. Pat Surtain, in my opinion, the best cornerback in the entire NFL, out for 4 to 6 weeks. As I just said, Nico Collins, the best wide receiver for the Houston Texans, is back. Guess what, guys? Had the roles been reversed and Pat Surtain was playing and Nico Collins was out, I would still be backing the Houston Texans in this spot. The Denver Broncos are a team, I want to say they're on a 4 or 5 game win streak right now. Credit to them. Sean Payton is doing a decent job, especially with that quarterback, Bo Nix. He's got him playing relatively well. He really has been playing well the entire time he's been in the league. But this is a different animal they're going up against this weekend, guys. This is one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the entire NFL. This Broncos defense on the other side is not close to what this Houston defense is, collectively speaking. They got a good pass rush. Typically, with Surtain speaking, they defend the pass okay. Surtain is out. Riley Moss is one of the worst cornerback twos, if not the worst cornerback twos in the NFL. He's their second corner. So now they're going to be relying on him as corner 1 and relying on their cornerback 3 as cornerback 2. Guys, this game is a no-brainer. This is the best bet on the entire board, of the entire card for the entire weekend. Don't overthink this, guys. I don't know why people are looking at this game and leaning towards the Broncos. The Broncos have that mojo going for them over the course of the last couple of weeks. Yes, they do. They're winning games. I give them credit for that. It's a difficult league to win games in. But this Houston team is really starting to round into form. We saw them take the Baltimore Ravens to the woodshed, which I told you guys they would a handful of weeks ago. We saw them just last week, like I told you guys they would, beat the San Francisco 49ers. They did that rather easily. Yes, it's a beaten up 49ers team that they beat, offensively and defensively. But guys, this Houston team is a very good team. It's a team that I think is going under the radar just a little bit. They're very, very good defensively. They're going to shut down that Broncos offense because if I'm being quite honest with you, that Broncos offense isn't very good right now. Put what you saw last week aside, that wasn't an NFL caliber defense that they played. And this Houston offense is going to do just enough. I think there's going to be more points scored in this game than people anticipate. This Houston offense is going to do just enough to win this game by a field goal or more tomorrow. It's the best bet on the board, guys. Don't overthink it. Don't look at the Lions. Don't look at the Colts. Don't look at the Patriots, teams that see other people jumping on these types of wagons. And I understand why. I lean in those situations as well. They're not bets for me. But if you want to put your hard-earned money somewhere, you want to put a ticket on the line, and you want to cash at the end of the day, there's only one answer for this weekend, guys. NFL Week 9, best bet on the entire board, the Houston Texans. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will be back, as always, for more winners.